of course, is building and growing your own subscription community. Moving on. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I'll kick off. We're gonna kick off with a bit of a reintroduction. Most of the people here on the call, I'm sure, know a decent amount about what Select is and why we're doing it, but we're just going to whiz through a bit more high level again, and then we're going to talk about how to be a great Mixcloud creator from a general tips and tricks perspective, before talking about positioning yourself on Select, using Select features for success, a little bit about talking to your fans and communication, and then we're going to end with a little bit about our roadmap and some of our upcoming exciting initiatives for 2020 and beyond. So let's kick off with, with a little bit of an intro to Mixcloud Select, a reintroduction for you guys. So this is how we talk about it. It's all about putting creators in control and bringing passionate people closer to the cultures and the communities they care about. Creators in control is a really big part of Select. It's all about really building for the first time ever, we think, a subscription streaming service where the creator is at the center of it and it's all built around you rather than built around the catalog, which is a really exciting proposition and has a lot of opportunity for you and for us. What's really cool about today is completely coincidentally, it happens to be the exactly 1 year of launching Mixcloud Select. So for the Americans out there, we think of it as our freshman year. So we launched last year, December the 4th, and it's been a really amazing year of building out some really exciting new features on Mixcloud and on Mixcloud Select, and really shifting our platform into a whole new area of value for you as a creator. We launched Select a year ago. We've launched exclusive, we've launched posts, we've updated the upsell pages. There's a lot of stuff we've been up to, and there's a lot more to come still. Thank you for being part of our early adopters on the products. So our purpose is really all about helping you guys grow your creative careers or your passion projects together with your fans. And so we talked earlier about being in control. We're talking about doing this together with your fans. And there's two aspects to it. We describe Select as a new digital fan club. That's two things. One is getting closer to your biggest fans. And the second is about turning that loyalty of your fans into revenue. So the features we're building and the toolkit we're building is not just about earning money. It's also about actually building a new type of relationship with your core community, getting to know them better and being closer to them. A couple of things about subscriptions. I think for a lot of you, I imagine this is the first time you're really dabbling with what it means to build a subscription audience. And I think it's important that we kind of talk about this from a high level, manage people's expectations, that it does take time to build a subscription audience. If you look at all of the stuff that's happening out there on things like Twitch and Substack for journalists and all the other businesses that are building subscriptions out there in software, they take time, but with commitment, they all find that they wake up one day and they've got a really amazing, regular, recurring community of subscribers and members or customers. And that's what we want you guys to think about here, is that you've got to put a lot of work in, but you'll get something great out with that regular recurring revenue, which will, once you've got that base, allow you to focus a lot more on what you love. And so that leads on to the next point, which is the more you put in, the more you get out. And the difference really between having a handful of supporters versus building an inner community of hundreds of fans comes down to the strategy and the work that you put in, and you're in control. And that's one of the big themes of today, that you're in control. And we're going to give you a lot of advice and tips on how you can take the features we've built to build the best strategy for you.
Exactly. And, with that, the features we've been kind of unveiling throughout the year, it's exactly with that in mind, to give you guys more control over your channel, over your offering. And I'll go into those, but starting off a bit more general, taking a step back, actually, how to be a great Mixcloud creator in more general terms, just the basics. The basics are key to building your audience on Mixcloud. You'll know most of these, but just a quick recap. Uploading regularly, consistency, is really important to building a loyal, engaged listener base. Your users will expect, especially on Select, some content, if it's weekly or monthly, but they're paying a monthly subscription fee. So consistency, regular content is really, really important. And tell your story. Pick a strong title, include a summary in the description. There's a couple of tips there, but the second actually I want to pick out. We see a lot of creators adding dates into their titles, and this we found can make a show look a little old and a little dated. So actually, we encourage you to leave out dates out the title. There's always going to be a timestamp, so they'll see when the show has been made. And keep it looking fresh. A visual brand for your channel with consistency. Yeah, it's really important. Make yourself stand out.
Just want to pick up on what Clive was saying about dates. One of the things we think about a lot, and one of the things we see some really successful creators do, is build out a content strategy that is really focused around what we call evergreen content. So when you see their page and when you find their shows in search or on different tag pages, it feels like something that, even if it's 4 years old, you still want to listen to it. And that's why we sometimes say that dating shows can actually make them feel dated and disincentivize the listener to engage with it.
Exactly. Moving on, I've talked to many of you about this, the tags. Tags are totally key to your exposure. And I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but they're really, really important. They're important to essentially they determine what genre pages you appear on, what charts you're eligible for. And that helps us with our recommendation engine in terms of what users your shows would be surfaced to. So always use the full 5 tags. Stick with a mixture of main genres and subgenres. Avoid using things like your creator name and the show name, because that already comes up. So stick to genres is our advice. And also, we encourage you to provide a track list. As you guys know, a upfront track list is actually a select benefit for your subscribers. And the way it works is if you provide a track list, this is what will be provided to your subscribers. So we encourage you to upload a full track list, provide the time stamping. It's really important, and your fans really appreciate it, right?
Yeah, I'll step in and give a bit more context to that. So some of you guys might know that we've put a lot of work into building a really pretty clever, our engineering team have built a really clever fingerprinting technology feature. So everything that you upload, we fingerprint. It's a little bit like an automatic Shazam. And we figure out all the stuff that's in there, and that helps us pay the right labels and the right publishers for the content. The reality is sometimes that can have false positives, and it might show a track that you haven't actually included in your mix. And so we've made the decision to not present the fingerprinted track list to the users, because we think that sometimes that might annoy you guys more than otherwise. So it's better for us to only focus on the track list that you put in and show that to your listeners. And we just really encourage people to go that last mile. If you put lots of effort into making a show, another few minutes to put in that track list and the timestamps is great for your listeners.
Exactly. And finally, start your show strong. We found actually if people drop off, they tend to drop off in the first minute. So it's really important to try and have a strong start to your show, make an impact, grab their attention. There's so much content out there, so it's about really standing out. And
Cool. Okay, so I'll step in and just kick off the next section, which is about positioning yourself on Select. So the first thing is that most of you guys have got great audiences of listeners already, and you've done the first bit of hard work. It's hard to stand out in the music industry. It's hard to cut through the noise, and we find that a lot of you guys have got great audiences already on Mixcloud. So well done. The next step now, and this what Select is all about, is about converting those listeners into subscribers and supporters that you can get closer to. And what we really encourage people to do first is figure out their strategy. You might have a successful Mixcloud page already, but then converting that to a Select page, it's really worth putting a bit more thought into what you want to do that's additional for your paying subscribers or paying members. So ask yourself a few questions. What is it about the content that you put out in the world that's unique and authentic? What do listeners really love about what you do that keeps them coming back? And how can you make your paying members and fans feel even more rewarded with some of the features we've built? And once you've thought about those questions, you can then put a bit of time and effort into coming up with a content and community strategy that is really authentic and unique to you. And it doesn't have to be something that is right from day one. Play around with it, try out new things, try out new posts, new exclusives, new ways to use our features, new ideas for content formats. Learn from what you do and just double down on the things that work. And the people that are doing really well on Select now, we find, are the people that actually do experiment before they start leaning into a regular strategy.
Yeah, exactly. We love seeing what you guys come up with. We have an idea of what works well. We can see what's working well. We obviously share that with you and encourage you to do the same. But we love seeing the different experiments that maybe we haven't even thought of.
Exactly.
So moving on to some of the new kind of features we talked about earlier about giving you guys more control over your Select channel. Starting with what we're calling your shop window. You may have noticed that your Select creator pages have had a redesign recently. If not, I would encourage you to check them out. I think we've given you more control within the benefits that you offer your subscribers. And we're putting you front and center of these pages. So here's a good example of US radio station called Doblab. You can see that the header image is much larger. We want to make it all about the creator, put you guys front and center of these pages. And starting with the description, or what we call, when I've been talking to you guys, I refer to as the select message or the upsell text. In this is the message from you to your fans. They will land on this page and they'll see this message and they'll be thinking, why should I subscribe? And this is your chance to explain what they'll get really clearly, being really honest about what they'll get, but also it's about explaining the different types of content they get, but also why they should subscribe to you, the emotional connection, as I refer to it in my emails to you guys. So, describe the shows they'll get regularly, talk about why the support from them really matters, especially, of course, that the artists played within your shows, they're also directly supported. Maybe mention what you use the money for. We've seen some creators donated to charity. That's a really great thing to talk about. Your fans want to hear these kind of things. Talk about the content you'll give them, whether that be exclusive shows or posts or new incentives, maybe merchandise or discounts to your store. And most importantly, keep it human, keep it authentic, and keep it original. Don't copy and paste the same as your Mixcloud bio and your social media bio. Keep it really unique. Here's a really good example of a select message from John Digweed. You guys can read through that. I don't think we need to read it out, but what's really important is that he just makes it really personal, first person from him, and he talks about why the support really matters to him, why supporting the scene he's in is really important, and he's really clear about what his subscribers will get. So starting off with this is something very new we've released. You're now able to customize the select benefits that your subscribers will get. This is really important. It's about giving you that extra control. Some select features will make more sense to your strategy, some might not. So you're now able to choose the ones that fit you, and you know your fans better than us. You know the sort of rewards they want. This is an opportunity for you to decide which benefits they receive. And these will appear on these select pages. Similarly, we have a new creator section on Mixcloud, and within that you're able to be categorized and discovered by your genre. You're now able to add 2 different genres that represent you and represent your fans, and it makes it easier for your fans to discover you. And both these that I've just mentioned, you can edit them in your dashboard, in the settings of your select dashboard. You can find that in the menu drop down, or by going to the link in this slide. Obviously, change your username to your username. But you can see here. Here's a quick little screenshot. There's a primary genre tag and a secondary. You can do one. I encourage you to use both. And here you can see the different select benefits you can offer your subscribers. Moving on to using select the features for success.
Before we go into that, I just want to give a shout out to some of the people in the chat. So big up to Bill Brewster, who thinks our office looks like the central committee of the Communist Party. Yeah, it is a little bit stark and grey. Come round one day. I know you're a local Londoner, so you can check out the Communist Party yourself. Big up to Cosmo, coming in from New York. Baron, Mauro, Lydia, what's up?
Hey guys.
Nice to see you.
So beginning with exclusives, I've had conversations with lots of you individually. You may have seen a blog post we recently did. If not, I encourage you to go check it out. We can share it around also afterwards, or perhaps drop a link. But using exclusives, they're a powerful tool to create value for your listeners and encourage their support. And creators using the feature in innovative ways often see a dramatic increase in their subscriptions as a result. Actually, on average, the creators using exclusives drive over 250% more subscriptions compared to those who don't, which is, you can see from the graph, it's a pretty extreme uptick in subscribers. And out of the 10 creators on the leadership board at the moment, the top 10, 8 of those are regularly using exclusives. It's been the biggest driver of subscribers we've seen so far, for sure. And there are a number of ways you can see we've seen creators using the exclusives tool. You decide, again, going back to what Nikhil said about working on your strategy and what works for you and what represents you. You can use this tool in any way that makes sense to you. You know, again, what your fans expect from you, what they would be most rewarded with. Using exclusive content doesn't necessarily have to mean creating loads more work for yourselves. I know some of you guys are really busy. So, there are ways you can repackage your existing content, or maybe find some stuff that's just lying around on a hard drive that you haven't found useful. There are a number of ways that don't require new engineering time and studio time and time from you guys. And here are a number of ways. I'll go through each one of them actually one by one. The first is early success. And some of you guys will have heard me talking about this via email, one-to-one. I sometimes refer to this as windowing. This is a really nice technique that doesn't involve any additional content creation. Major creators like John Digweed, who we've already talked about, Deadmau5, Accelerator, what they do, they have their regular series of shows, which they've been uploading historically, perhaps once a week. Using Digweed as the example, he uploads his transition show on a Monday, and always has done. It's very, very popular. But what he does since sort of halfway through the year is he uploads as an exclusive for his subscribers on a Friday. So they get this early access, this window of the weekend to hear it before anyone else, anywhere else. And that's enough. The fans want to hear it first. They want to be talking about it first. It's a way of rewarding them for their subscription. And, of course, caveat, this technique won't work if you're uploading it at the same time elsewhere. I think that's obvious to say. But moving on to number 2, the extended show. We've got Bill Brewster in here, I know already. And you do this very, very well. Likewise, Quiet Music. It's a great technique of having your regular series, which may be available elsewhere. You may have been just keeping this, always uploading this to Mixcloud. You didn't want to change the model, but there are ways that you can offer an extended show. Maybe you record a full version and you only use a snippet of it on your actual regular series. Your fans, your super fans, they want to hear the full thing. They want to hear the offcuts. Maybe there's, we're seeing some labels use as tool rooms, an example here. They upload their normal show and then an extended guest mix at the same time, which is only available to their select exclusives. Often, maybe a guest mix they can do. We've seen other creators do a mini mix in their show, 15 minutes, but they upload the full thing as an extended 1-hour version. It's a way of offering something additional to your subscribers. And number 3 is the unreleased content, or rare archive material. And like I said earlier, maybe things you just got lying around from years ago that you haven't found useful, don't fit your weekly series or your monthly series. Now, again, your super fans want to hear this. They want to hear what you did 20 years ago, or something that you've never uploaded anywhere. Or maybe it's a live set. For example, J-Rock here, he does a mixture of uploading live sets that no one's heard, as well as just old mixes from his archive that maybe he released on tape back in the day, but no one's heard recently, and they don't live anywhere else online. And it's a really, really great way of offering unique content. Something, and with this particular method, it doesn't need to be something like really regular. Obviously, regularity is key, but if you just find something and it's just been lying around, like, get it up there. We
kind of sometimes think about it as the kind of surprise and delight strategy. If you can just drop things, as Clive said, it doesn't have to have a regularity to it because it's something you found digging around. The Half Moon example here is that they take things that are from like exclusive events that are outside of the normal broadcasting schedule. It doesn't have to be regular, but it can be a cool thing that is also actually very important to talk about off platform, which we'll come on to later as well.
Exactly, like bonus content.
Yeah.
Number 4 is the exclusive dedicated series. Now, obviously, this is, if you want to treat Select and the exclusive features, more of a product in itself. And we're seeing great results from creators like Blighty, Cliff the super producer, and also radio stations, Brooklyn Radio and Folk Radio UK. Brooklyn Radio is the one we actually picked out as an example. They have a regular series which they call Select If Hearing. Very clever. And they upload these every couple of weeks, and they have bespoke artwork, and it's something that only their subscribers can access, and they know their fans, their subscribers, they know that they're going to get this piece of content. It's a continuous stream of shows just for them. And you actually already mentioned Half Moon. What we're seeing, Half Moon and other radio stations, and a few of you, I think, even in this chat, are doing this. You're creating playlists. They're using the playlist tool of Mixcloud to collect and categorize your Select exclusive shows in one place, which is a great initiative, and something it means you have a dedicated tab on your profile, a shareable link for your subscribers they just know exactly where all the exclusive content is. And it'll give them an easy overview of what they get when they subscribe. And this is really key. We've talked a little bit about communication, but communicate your exclusive strategy clearly. Make it clear to your fans if you're offering exclusives, and let them know your strategy in your Select message, via Mixcloud posts, or through your social media. It's about educating your fans wherever they are. If they know you've got this great content and this is the only place they can hear this by subscribing to you on your Select, then they'll come. But it's about letting those fans know, making it really clear.
It's worth mentioning actually, because we haven't put it in the examples earlier, but some people are actually doing really, really well by putting a lot of their archive content behind the paywall as well. So, don't be afraid to go in on this, because really, you're putting a lot of time and effort into making great content, and often people are finding their fans are very, very willing to put their hand in their pocket and pay for it. So, experiment, try it out, and communicate clearly both on and off Mixcloud what you're doing with this feature.
Exactly. Cool. I just touched on posts. I know a few of you are already using this tool. We're really excited about posts. We think it's a game changer. No other streaming service that we know of, is offering this tool where you can message your fans directly within our app, within the music service. Yeah. It's a way that think of it like a microblogging tool for you to communicate directly with your fans, within the music service.
Yeah, which is amazing because, as Clive said, all other streaming services are really built around people get notified when you upload a new track or a new mix or a new show. And that's what obviously Mixcloud has been doing for many years. But now we feel like Post is a great way of just building that relationship with your community and offering them value beyond the audio as well. And that's a really crucial thing, that it's all about value beyond the audio. So don't just use posts to, tell them what you've eaten for breakfast, or to big up your latest upload, but really think about rewards, benefits, giveaways, and things like that. So actually that touches on the next slide, which is, keep it personal, write in the first person, keep it interesting. Don't just notify them about your latest upload, which actually we're seeing quite a lot of people do. So that's a really, really simple bit of advice, that when you upload something, people already get notified. And you can put a really nice description in the description of the uploads. You don't need to write a separate post saying, I've just uploaded this thing. And honestly, that just comes across as spammy to people. But the kinds of posts that we're seeing do really well are probably two things. One is posts that demand a response, so asking your audience questions and getting into a conversation. And the second thing is posts that are giving people a bit of value, a benefit, like a pre-release to a gig or a discount code or something like that.
Exactly. Actually, we've got a good example here from Mr. Scruff, who used posts. Taking a step back a second, you might be aware that you can make a post exclusive to your select subscribers so that only they can view the full body, or you can make it public so that all your followers can view the whole post. So it depends on what kind of message you're trying to convey, and what you're trying to, whether you're trying to incentivize them or reward them, again, giving you the control, just like the way a show behaves. And what Scruff did in this example is he created an exclusive post where he offered his subscribers the unique opportunity to co-create a series he calls Mix Selector. Now, what that was he records a lot. He's recorded a lot, basically all of his shows over the last 20 odd years, and he gave his fans the opportunity to pick out a show from his archive that maybe wasn't already live. And he would go out and find it, and he put the name of that. He would go and upload that show, and he puts the name of that subscriber in the show title. It's a great way of creating a community, creating fandom, an incentive for a subscriber. They want to be part of this. Maybe they saw a gig from '99 and they would like to hear it, and a great way for the creators to shout out the fan as well. And this moves on really nicely to just talking to your fans generally. Mixcloud Posts is one way you can talk to your fans. But there are a number of other ways to inspire your listeners to support you. Shout out in your shows. Like I said, Scruff just he puts it in his title, but you can actually shout it out in the audio shows. We're seeing a number of creators do this, shouting out new subscribers, or shouting out subscribers who have maybe done a nice comment on one of their posts.
And also, obviously, shouting out non-subscribers and actually encouraging them to subscribe. So this kind of leads on to the second point as well. Shout-outs in your shows and audio idents. I'm sure lots of you out there listen to podcasts regularly, and also if you're in America and you listen to public radio, it's actually very, very common for people in public radio and in the podcast world to directly ask for that support within the audio. And one thing we're finding right now is that actually a lot of people on Mixcloud aren't doing that yet. And we think that's a big opportunity, that in the audio, the thing that people can engage with, the week in, week out that you're making, put that message in there for your free listeners and really encourage them to subscribe and support you, because that's often the thing that really works.
Exactly. They want to get closer to you. That's why they're subscribing. And likewise, we see this as a tool for you to get closer to them. So celebrate your supporters. And, outside of the audio, just keep shouting about on your social media. Like I said earlier, it's about educating your fans wherever they are, to whatever channels you usually use. Let them know about your great offering, especially if you've got additional rewards and incentives. Link it out in your bio or your website. We're seeing some creators even go as far as to have banners on their websites. It's just a great way of. It's a new product. It's something new, and you're putting a lot of time and work into it. Just make sure your fans actually know about it, right?
Yeah, and it goes back to what we said at the start about put what you get out what you put in. So the point of this slide is not to say you should be spamming your community on social media all the time. And you don't need to necessarily be posting purely about Select on Instagram and Facebook every day, week in, week out. But you can organically include a mention of it in your existing posts. When you're doing something, people do this really well on YouTube, actually, where they put at the end of it an upsell to their Patreon page or something like that. So, you can stick it in your existing links. You can put it at the end of your descriptions on posts on Instagram. You can put it in your description on Instagram itself, linking to your Mixcloud. But if you can drive people to your Select landing page, the more people you drive there, the more subscribers you're going to get. Simple as that.
Exactly. Actually, a good example of this is Sasha, who he uploads his show every month on Mixcloud, and he's part of Mixcloud Select, and he windows it, as I said earlier. He gives his subscribers early access, about 3 days early access, and every time he uploads his new show, he does a simple post on his social profiles, and he just says, "My new show is up. This is what I've been doing. This is what's going to be in it. And if you want to hear it first, head here." He doesn't even necessarily talk about Mixcloud or Select. He just links to where you can hear it first before it's uploaded on the usual channels.
Cool. So that was a lot to get through. So thanks for listening to the meat of it. So we've talked a lot about the tips and tricks, using exclusives, using posts, getting your story straight, getting your strategy right. And the key thing I'll just recap on this is that it's not something that will work overnight in terms of both your strategy for success and also the growth of your subscribers. But if you can just see that momentum and that growth every time you upload something, every time you talk about it, then keep going, because honestly, that subscription-based, regular recurring revenue for a creator can be so helpful and can really help you. It's all about being an additional new revenue stream on top of other things that you're doing. And we're really excited about offering this to our creators on Mixcloud. I'd love to talk a bit more about what's next, because as I said right at the start, it's only been a year for Select. We really feel like we're still very much at the foothills of this new mountain we're climbing. Our overall goal is to supercharge the fan to creator relationship. And we want to make it easy and convenient for your community to connect and experience things they can't get elsewhere. That's the audio you make, the mixes you upload, the content you're creating from an audio perspective, but also other things as well. It's very much about building a new future digital fan club. And from that perspective, there's so much more we're doing and we've got to do, and we're super excited about it. I just want to touch a little bit on 2020, which is actually going to mark 10 years of Mixcloud. So it's a really great milestone for the company. It's our 10th anniversary. And we're going to be rolling out some really major positive updates to the platform to coincide with this 10th year. So some of the things that you've got to look forward to for 2020 includes, and this is probably the first time we're talking about this publicly, we're going to be rolling out a brand new Mixcloud rebrand, which is super exciting. The brand is now 10 years old. It's been a great visual identity and a great brand for our first decade, but we now feel like it's time to refresh the brand, reinvigorate it, and create a new visual identity to bring us into the new decade. So we're really excited to be launching that at the start of 2020. And yeah, can't wait to show it to you all. And to coincide with that, we're actually going to be doing a lot of work on rebuilding our mobile app and launching an entirely new, refreshed mobile app experience. And one thing to mention on that specifically for you guys is that in that new mobile app experience, we're going to be putting Select way more front and center. So we're going to make it a lot easier for your fans to find you as a creator they subscribe to within the app. I'll be very honest. I know that right now it's a little bit difficult for them to get to their subscriptions within the app. That's something we're going to be addressing, and it's going to be a really great user experience. And I think it's going to lead to a lot more engagement from your subscribers. So super exciting.
Yeah, we can't wait for you to see it.
And then, yeah, as I mentioned, we're at the foothills of this new journey of building Select, and we really do feel like the journey is 1% complete. We want to continue to get your feedback, find out what's really working for you and what you want to know more about. And there's a lot of stuff we want to keep building to help you connect with your core community of fans more effectively and help them connect with you and help you monetize them in a more effective way. So I think that is our last slide.
It is. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. We've taken quite a lot of your time, but if there's any questions, we can take a couple of minutes to answer any. If you want to throw any into the chat, we'll have a quick scan now. But yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time to join this webinar. We're going to be, I think I said this at the start, but for those of you, I know some of you joined late, we've recorded this, so we'll make sure to share this around in case there's anything you missed or you want to double down on. And again, you all have my email address. Any questions, any ideas? I love to hear your ideas, and if you want to talk content strategy, I'm always available. But yeah, it's always great to hear from you guys.